Right now on Denver 7 News, it's 7 o'clock on Local 3. Police are investigating multiple shootings across the metro from Arvada to Denver. Now CU experts are weighing in on the impact of gun violence on our health.
And it's time to head back to the polls. It's primary day in Colorado. We're breaking down what you need to know before you cast your vote.
And after 21 years, Lord Stanley's Cup is finally home. We are still cheering for the Avs even as they touch down at DIA. How the city is preparing to give the team and fans a party to remember in just 2 days. Good morning and thanks so much for joining us. I'm Jason Granauer.
And I'm Jessica Crawford. We've got warm and dry conditions across the metro today. Lisa Hidalgo is here. And Lisa, the forecast also looking good for the parade.
It is, yeah. Thursday morning, it's going to be pretty warm, but it will be dry and sunny. We'll see thunderstorms that afternoon, and I'll give you a better idea what to expect coming up, but it is going to be a pretty morning. Speaking of pretty mornings, right now, gorgeous. You can see here from Longs Peak, we're under plenty of sunshine statewide today. It's going to be a warm morning for us. Mid-70s here by about 9 o'clock, 10 degrees warmer by noon, and then we'll see low 90s this afternoon for highs. So it's a pretty toasty emoji cast today. Summer has returned to Denver after a cool and cloudy weekend. Boulder 90, Evergreen today 80. Parker, you're near 90 this afternoon. So statewide, some pretty warm conditions. Coming up here in a few minutes, there will be a slightly better chance for a few isolated storms here tomorrow. An even better chance later in the week. I'll show you when the next cold front's going to roll through coming up.
And so far it looks pretty heavy in a lot of spots here this morning. It is a busy drive on the highways. Now we're not seeing a whole lot of problems, which is great news, whether it's I-70 in that lowered section across downtown on 270 or here on 225. You can see those very slow areas for us this morning. And on the map, you're seeing it as well. So a lot of red out there, southbound I-25, I-76, 270. It's all real busy, but thankfully we've only had very few problems. Most of them all cleared up, including the crash that we had over there at Federal and Evans. But not seeing any other big problems for us right now, which is helping us out. Good drive, though, to and from Boulder right now.
Moments ago, polling locations opened across Colorado. It's primary day. Denver 7's Veronica Acosta is at one of those sites at the Wellington Webb Building in downtown Denver with what you need to know before you cast your vote.
Sites like this one at the Wellington Webb Building, they are ready for all of those voters to start coming in now this morning. So if you're one of the many who still hasn't cast your vote, this is what you need to know going into the day. So first off, you have a 12-hour window to go ahead and vote. Polling sites opened up at 7 this morning, and as long as you're in line by 7 this evening, you'll be able to do just that. If you're not registered to vote in Colorado, you can register today and then go ahead and cast your vote today as well. There are some major races on the ballot. We're talking about everything from U.S. Senate to Congress to some state seats as well. But one of the big questions is who's going to take on Governor Jared Polis come November. Republicans Heidi Ganahl and Greg Lopez, they're both vying for that spot. Denver 7 spoke with both of them this month. Listen to what they said would be their priorities should they be able to take on the governor, even potentially that job.
What I hear around the state is folks are really upset and frustrated about government overreach, whether it's taxes, fees, regulations, moving industries out of Colorado like the energy industry. We need to make sure that we trust the people of Colorado to make good decisions for themselves and their businesses, their families, their kids, first and foremost. And that's what I call the Colorado way of life. I think that's my first priority.
Crime is really a big issue here in the state of Colorado because it impacts families. It impacts our quality of life. And so we need to make sure that we give back qualified immunity to the police officers, that we figure out a way where we can be tough on crime once again, because I think that's really what's tearing apart our community fabric.
And if you're looking for your closest polling site this morning, the best piece of advice is to go to your county election supervisor's website and look on there. If you're in Denver, all you have to do is go to denvergov.org. In Denver, I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
Veronica, thank you. Another high-profile race is for Secretary of State. Pam Anderson, Mike O'Donnell, and Tina Peters are seeking the Republican bid to take on Democratic incumbent Jenna Griswold. This race has received a lot of attention because of Tina Peters. The former Mesa County clerk is under investigation for allegedly tampering with election equipment. Earlier this morning, we spoke with Secretary Griswold about Colorado voting security.
Colorado is considered one, if not the safest state in the nation to cast a ballot. None of our voting equipment is connected to the internet. Of course, Coloradans vote on a piece of paper, and we do the premier audits. It's called a bipartisan risk limiting audit. So rest assured, our elections are safe and secure, but we have to exercise that right.
We'll have special election coverage throughout the day with a look at several other races in our next half hour. Look for results tonight on air and streaming on Denver 7 Plus.
We're continuing to follow some breaking news this morning. Arvada police say a suspect was taken to the hospital after a shooting involving one of its officers. You're looking at video of the scene from earlier this morning, just east of Wadsworth on West 61st Avenue. We're working to learn more about what led up to that shooting. Police say there's no danger to the public and no officers were hurt.
Denver and Aurora police are investigating several shootings since yesterday afternoon. We mapped out where Denver officers responded to 4 different ones across the city. Investigators say one person was shot at each scene. Aurora police are investigating a triple shooting at City Park. 2 men and 1 woman were shot. All of the victims are expected to recover. No word about arrests. The public health impacts of gun violence is the topic of a conference today featuring experts from CU Boulder and the CU Anschutz Medical Campus. Denver 7's Christian Lopez is live with what they'll discuss. Christian?
Jessica, we had the Uvalde and Buffalo shootings and several more after that. Just this past weekend, there were 10 mass shootings across the country that left more than 50 people killed or injured. And just like everyone else, faculty at CU Boulder is heartbroken and angered by all of this violence. So they are doing their part to help. They are hosting a webinar this afternoon. It'll bring together faculty experts from several different fields of study at CU Boulder and CU Anschutz medical campuses. And these are experts in child psychology, emergency treatment, faculty from the Center for the Study of Violence and Prevention, and the Institute of Health and Wellness. And they'll all be sharing their research and findings to help the community understand the mental health impacts that can lead to gun violence, as well as ways to help prevent it. CU Boulder's Chancellor Phil DiStefano told me that several years ago after the Columbine shooting, the director for the university's Center for the Study and Prevention of Violence actually visited every high school in Colorado to talk about gun violence prevention and help campuses adopt the best practices. He says their goal with this webinar is education.
I believe we have a responsibility to share research in areas of gun violence, safety, mental health, and wellness with members of our community, whether they're in Colorado or across the country, across the world. Secondly, this is not a debate, and this is a way of the university using those research findings, what we're known for as a major research university, in getting information out to the public, because gun violence, as you know, has really impacted all of us, especially the last couple of years.
That webinar will be taking place at 5 o'clock this afternoon. It's open to everyone who wants to watch it. And if you want to attend, we'll have a link on our website, thedenverchannel.com. Live this morning, I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
New fallout from the Supreme Court decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. More than a dozen states had so-called trigger laws in place to immediately ban or limit abortion when Roe was overturned. Now judges in 2 of those states, Utah and Louisiana, have temporarily blocked those trigger laws from taking effect, saying the states are unprepared for such a significant change. Now, the judges granted temporary restraining orders requested by abortion rights activists, allowing more time for the courts to hear challenges. Meanwhile, pharmacies nationwide are placing limits on the emergency contraceptive known as Plan B. The over-the-counter drug is different than the abortion pill prescribed by doctors. According to the Wall Street Journal, CVS is limiting customers to 3 pills. Walmart is capping sales at 4 to 6. Walgreens does not have a purchase limit in place. Hundreds of people gathered at the state capitol last night to rally in support of abortion rights. The procedure is protected here in Colorado, and demonstrators say they're speaking for other women across the country. Now, 2 state lawmakers are filing a bill to further protect Colorado abortion providers. The details haven't been finalized just yet, but the bill could include securing business licenses for abortion providers or helping out-of-state providers transfer to Colorado. The medical director for the Boulder Valley Women's Health Center says the legislation is needed.
It's scary to me to look at some of the states where it is illegal or where it's going to be very restricted, and looking at what they're trying to do to providers in terms of, imposing penalties that are financial or even, going to prison, losing your license.
The future of the bill will likely depend on the outcome of the November election, when Republicans have a chance to regain control of the state Senate.
A sight Avs fans have been waiting more than 2 decades to see. There's Gabe Landeskog lifting the Stanley Cup over his head as he and the rest of the Avs return to Denver as champions. Thursday, the Avs will be giving the Cup a tour around town during their victory parade. The parade starts at 10, but fans are encouraged to arrive a lot earlier. It starts at Union Station and ends at Civic Center Park with a big celebration and speeches. The team and the Stanley Cup will wind down 17th Street and Broadway. The city's expecting hundreds of thousands of people to pack into downtown on Thursday. That means there will be a lot of foot traffic for businesses along the route. Denver 7 is your home for the Stanley Cup Parade. We're partnering with Altitude Sports for the most comprehensive coverage of the parade. Our pre-parade coverage starts at 4:30 a.m. and our parade show will begin at 9:30.
What's good for our national parks is good for Colorado. How a big boost in tourism is lifting our economy.
And firing up the grill might put the heat on your wallet this 4th of July. What cookout staples have gotten more expensive in the past year?